to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razaban IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're here in Bournemouth ahead of Benn Smith's return to his home city. With me, Johnny Nelson. Johnny, it's cold. How are we?
It's cold, man. You know, last time we were here, we were swimming in the sea, our little budgie smugglers on, living it up. It was like, wow. Now, you can walk on the sea. Some of them men are talking about going and swimming. I'm like, I ain't doing it. I don't care. I don't care what you offer me. I ain't doing it. I'll watch him and I'll film him. My big toe's not going in that water.
Yeah, it's very cold. It's very cold. Obviously, another action-packed weekend on Sky on Saturday. Benn Smith. Everyone thought this might be Riakporhe. Everyone thought Riakporhe might take this fight. I spoke to Ben Chalom and he said, listen, both fighters have said, look, they're close to world titles, so why not both go and win world titles and maybe meet down the line?
That's common sense. I think Benn Smith's ranked in the top 5 in almost every governing body. His opponent's ranked 14 by the WBO. 9 by the WBO, 14 by the IBF, 26 by the WBA. Smith should get this job done to prove his ranking, to say, listen, I belong here. Smith is shouting and screaming from the rooftops to get boxing in Bournemouth. He's got his wish. Cracking fight against Isaac Chamberlain last time we were here, and he showed his strength, how much he's come along as a fighter. And so now you look at the world titles that are out there, the champions, they're all winnable fights. So you never know, we can have like 3 Brits that are holding belts to fight each other. The cruiserweights are out there that are holding belts, don't want to come here to the UK because that's where the books are, that's where the attention is, that's where the ones that where they put bombs on seats.
Ben said many times to me, you know, I've got a number of cruiserweights. We saw Marius Bradius, Ali Pali, and he said, listen, I want all the cruiserweights here, I want to fight them. Do you think we can get maybe like a Super 6 type competition within the cruiserweights at Sky?
That's a great idea. I hope they do. That's a great idea. I think the fights that have been involved in those kind of competitions have really established themselves and got themselves recognition worldwide as the best. So realistically, doing something like that is excellent, and really we got top cruiserweights from this country, cruiserweight that can dominate. You know, now the division is wide open now. There's not one person you say he's the best. You know, everything you can argue about everybody's decision on who they think is the best or not.
Chris is very confident that Chris Benn Smith, that he lands a world title as long as he comes through Saturday night. But is that a lot of pressure on fighters when they know what's around the corner?
No, because him wanting and demanding that he box here in Bournemouth, I don't believe he'll make a mistake yet. I don't believe he'll overlook his opponent. I think he wants to show people, look, I want to show you why I'm dominant, why I should get a world title fight, why I want you to follow me and watch me here in Bournemouth and put boxing the match here on the map here in Bournemouth. I'd be very surprised if he lost Saturday night. I'd be very surprised if he even struggled. Smith is a strong, competent young man that can fight, and he can fight better than he can box. So if you ain't got no fight in you, he'll punch you out of you. So you've got to be able to box as well as bash when you're fighting Smith. And so I think Saturday night, I expect him to get the win.
Dan Aziz back in the ring, obviously with Buddy McGirt in his corner now. Takes on Rocky Fielding. A lot of people thought Rocky might have just flown into the sunset after his loss to Canelo.
I don't know. I'm hearing he lives in Dubai, and if I'm honest with you, I thought he'd kind of just fallen out of love with the game and then gone. Was he 35 years old now? When I saw it, I thought, you know what, that's a dangerous fight for Dan, because Fielding has the experience. He can punch. Dan has pace and consistency, so that's what he needs to win this fight. And it's a case of how much Fielding's got left. Is this right? Good timing for those two to fight each other? We don't know, but it's a case of how much he's got left. But it's a good fight, so it's not a given, and it's no secret I'm a massive fan of Dan's. But I think this could be a banana skin. So again, he's got to show. He needs a top draw performance. He can't afford a below par performance. Otherwise, he could lose against the feeling that on paper, looking at what they've done and who's done what, he should actually win. But it depends on what he's got left.
Nick Campbell, Caroline Dubois, Vidal, Riley, Lee Cutler, all back in action. Obviously, Caroline's had a great year. I believe 5 fights in this calendar year. Vidal similar as well, 4 fights. Boxer really pushing kind of that next generation and keeping them active.
Yeah, I think Vidal should try and shout and scream to box for the British title. I saw him ringside when we saw Noel box for the British title.
Ali Pali.
At the Ali Pali. And I said, yo, you need to get in there. You need to get yourself, because looking at what's out there, Vidal is actually, domestically, I'd put him up there. I think he's in that position to actually compete for a British title. So that fight, I said it on the show. I said, "Yo, he wants to talk about getting involved." Caroline Dubois, you see the development of this young girl, and she's a proper Jekyll and Hyde. When the bell goes, she's on it. And so I think boxers are doing what they promised to do, which was push the fighters that were overlooked, that were passed by, that were not given the credit that they thought they deserved.
John, just moving away and sticking to cruiserweight, so a man we've spoken about a couple of weeks ago, Hearn-Okolie, ongoing issues outside of the ring with obviously Eddie Hearn, 258, etc. He's finally broken silence and did a couple of interviews, one with IFL TV, where he spoke about those issues. I'm not sure if you've seen. Just want to get your reaction on this whole situation. He hasn't been in the ring since February, so he's been very, very inactive. What have you made of everything?
I was asked my opinion on it. It's just my opinion. You don't have to listen to nothing. That's his call. And sometimes you got to think of the bigger picture. Now the argument is he believes he hasn't got one fight left with Eddie. Eddie believes he has. So now they're arguing outside of the ring. Lawrence, he's still a developing fighter and a champion, which means there's so much more for him to achieve and get better. There's so much space for him to get, but he's wasting valuable time sitting outside the ring. His promoters will argue with you all day, send you solicitors all day long, wasting your time. I personally, if it was me, I'd either. So Lawrence is saying he ain't got to fight with him. If he hasn't, go and fight. And pay your dues, what you've got to pay your percentage, your promoter, say, right, I'm out, I've done, that's my fight, I'm out of this. Or take the fight the one more fight he's got with Matchroom, get it on with it, get on with your career. Because you're wasting valuable time outside the ring arguing with man that do this for a living. You're a fighter. And you can be an outstanding fighter. You can unify those titles, but whilst you're spending time outside the ring, everybody else is passing you by. Everybody else is developing. Everybody else is sharpening their tools. Everybody else is moving forward with their career. That's just my opinion. That's how I look at it. I've seen it happen so many times with fighters in their careers. And in years to come, he'll think, you know what, I did waste my time there. Sometimes it's good to lose a battle and win a war. And so to get a period victory and say, yes, I beat you in court, I told you, you've just wasted 2 years, a year and a half of your career arguing over something. So I personally, that's what I think you should do. I don't know enough of the ins and outs of the contract, but what I'm hearing on the outside, that's my opinion of what I hear on the outside.
One of the things that Lawrence mentioned was that Eddie has gone on record to say that he's got one fight left and we're going to have that fight, basically. Eddie goes on to further say that he's taken financial hits and made some losses on Lawrence, and he wants to recoup a bit of money. Now, Lawrence's argument back was that, well, if I'm making you losses, right, and I'm not making the money, why do you want me to fight again on your platform?
And Eddie's response was?
Eddie's response after that was, no, Eddie's clearly said contractually he's obliged to have a fight, and we'll see how it plays out. We've obviously got this issue with David Light.
So there's a bit of a contradiction there. So with the contradictions, Eddie's got to, if he's saying I've taken it and lost money on you, will he make money on him and make his money up with this fight? We don't know. Or is it a pride thing, saying, well, no, you know what, this is our deal, I've put my neck on the line for you, so I'm going to make you stick to the contract. That's not what it sounds like, Eddie's saying. And if that is the case, that is the case. And if Lawrence really believes his case is correct and he's on point, and he hasn't got a fight, then go and fight somebody else. And that's it. You know, there's a lot of he said, she said. You know, Lawrence has his point of view, Eddie has his point of view, and remember, promoters will get stick when they make or don't make, and sometimes when they put a show on and lose dough, you know, they don't get much pity from people. When they make dough, they get a lot of stick from people. Fighters, we are fighters because we're fighters. You know, our job is to fight. Our job is to make as much money for ourselves and pick up as many titles as possible while we're at it. And so there's two lanes to stay in. And so for Lawrence is a very clever, articulate young man. And I hear where he's coming from. I hear what he's saying. But again, you're wasting your true talent. Your talent right now, you might be a promoter, manager, matchmaker, whatever, when you finish boxing. Right now you're a boxer. Make the most of your career. Do what you're good at, what you are the best at. So to me, I don't get it. I don't get it.
One of the aspects that Eddie said when he did his interview with Coogan was that what initiated some of this was Sky made an illegal approach while he was under contract and made him an offer, and the offer stated that he would become the face of Sky and offered him ridiculous amount of money. Lawrence has come out and said clearly that you don't have to match it, just get close and I accept. Lawrence then says that Eddie Hearn has asked for £500,000 for him to kind of walk away from the contract, which Eddie has then gone on to deny. So is it just getting messy and messy?
It's he said, she said. You know, face this guy want £500,000, blah, blah. He said, she said. You know, these guys know what's being said and done. If Lawrence believes it, there is no contract there. Fight. Go and fight. If Eddie didn't say what he didn't say, then you know what? That's just how it is. You know, you stick to fact, not fiction, not hearsay. What you and I are talking about. These guys know what's going on behind closed doors, and we're probably making it more of a battle than what it is. You know, but I think for Lawrence as a fighter, I'm telling you, don't waste your time when you should be developing as a fighter.
Is it sad to see though, Johnny, because, you know, Matchroom have done a great job for Lawrence, British, Commonwealth, European, world champion, done a great job, but is it sad to see that it's ending the way it seemed like it's going to end?
So you can't educate someone, you can't make someone better, and then when they become better and become independent and smart enough to stand on their own 2 feet, you're pissed off that they stand on their own 2 feet. You made them that way. You're put in a position where you think, right, believe in yourself, this is what you can do. So Lawrence has believed in himself and saying, well, this is what, thank you, McGahan. You know what I mean? That's like in anything, in teaching, in how you teach anybody, in parenting, that's life. So Matchroom have got to either say, you know what, good on you, you never know, you might come back down the line and work with us, but Lawrence is going to make the most, or trying to make the most of where he has got to in his career, and he I'm quite sure he appreciates what Matchroom have done. I'm quite sure there's no secret about that. It's quite obvious what they've done for him. But now he's at a stage where he thinks, right, you know what, I want what's best for me. God offered something better than you can offer me. You said, cool. Now I'm taking it. You're not happy about it. So that's just that. It's hard. In fighting, boxing, there's a lot of, sometimes fighters will be trained with trainers that they have a good personal relationship with, but they can only get them so far. And you either stay with them out of loyalty and your career stays right there, or you leave them on what's best for you and your career soars. You know, but sometimes it involves making hard, tough decisions.
Lawrence was very appreciative of that what Matchroom have done, was appreciative of Eddie giving him a Rolex, but he described it and he rolled the reverse. He kind of almost gave the example that, Eddie, you're with Sky, you get offered $1 billion to go to the zone and you take what's best for your business and best for yourself, and I've been offered something, but I've also given you the opportunity to match it or get close, and I'll stay with you.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got putting it that way, he's got a point. But Eddie is reacting how he would react. You know, was Sky happy that he did what he did? I don't know. You know, but Eddie did what was best for him. Lawrence is doing what's best for him. And so Eddie's not just going to roll over. Of course he's going to kick and scream and not be happy about it. But he's doing what's best for him. Again, I'm going back to the fact that, you know, you're wasting valuable time having an argument outside of boxing that's taking almost a year out of your career. It could go on even longer and longer, and these are valuable times where you could have had 2-3 fights down at this point and developed yourself, polished yourself as a fight even more. So, but I get where he's at, I hear what you're saying, but sometimes, again, I say it, sometimes it's good to lose a battle and win a war.
Conor Benn was quite active on social media the other day, was posting a lot, resharing a lot of stories on his Instagram. Yeah, I'm sure you read his statement. Just kind of get your reaction on what you take from that.
Well, all we can say is Conor Benn, he still loves boxing. Conor Benn still wants to fight. Conor Benn still screaming his innocence. So what we can see is wait and see what he's said and done. See where he's fighting, through what governing body he's fighting, what findings have been found, and it's all speculation so far. So again, we just got to wait and see. And listen, it's a talking point, but you know, Conor, we've got to wait and see. Just wait and see what happens.
He said that he'll forgive, but he'll never forget the people that obviously were quite.
You see, I get that. I get where he's coming from, but the fact are the facts. The facts are people are reacting to what has been said. So he's basically saying, believe me and not your lying guys. It's hard. That's hard. So until people know the facts, of course, they're gonna come to that assumption. And so I understand the hurt, I understand the pain, I understand the frustration, but he's asking people to believe in something that they just are struggling to where there's no fact. And so and I get it. I get him being pissed. I get it. But at the end of the day, you know, that's how it is. You know, that's you don't know these people on a personal level, and they don't know you on a personal level. So you can't blame them thinking what they're thinking. You can't blame people thinking, well, you tell me something else. You know, you can't. And so that's just how it is.
Anthony Joshua's in America. Saw pictures of him in the gym with Virgil Hanna. We've seen him with Derek James as well. Eddie's confirmed that he's trying to put together a new training team. So how much more can someone at that age learn?
Remember, AJ started boxing at the age of 18. I personally think AJ should have a year out. I think he should go with coaches. You know, immerse himself in boxing. Go to dirty little stinky gyms, man. You know, and learn so much more, because he has still got a lot to learn, and he still can pick it up. And he still has to be at peace with himself to think, right then, I've reset, I'm back. Remember, this guy was at the top of his game for 7 years. He got beat by a guy twice, so he knows there's a man out there that can beat him. He doesn't think there's a man out there that can beat him. He knows there's a man out there. So his head's going to be like, damn. Because his motivation is, when you really believe you're the best in the world, when you're a champion, you believe you're the best in the world. It doesn't matter if you believe it. Once you believe you're the best in the world, you think, right, that's it. So when all of a sudden reality kicks in, you think, right, I'm not the best in the world. What is my motivation? There's a man out there that can beat me. You know, and so you've got to re-motivate, revitalize yourself. You've got to re-energize yourself and think, right then, you know, I've got to find another reason to fight. I've got to somehow make sure that I can fix this. I believe if you box Usyk 100 times, he probably wins in 5. But I just think for it's tough. It's hard for him. But my personal opinion is, I think he should take a year out, get his head right.
All right, Johnny, I know you want to get back in. We've got some duties, but I appreciate giving me a little bit of time. I'm sure we'll catch up with you tomorrow at the weigh-in.
Peace.
Johnny Nelson.
I might take you out for food tomorrow night.
Yeah. My man.
Kentucky on me, man. Kentucky's on me.
Johnny Nelson, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Oh, shut it.
Sorry, Johnny, before you go, quick question.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.